We are here at the Perrel Gallery at Norfolk Academy in Norfolk, Virginia, to see the work curated by Betsy DiJulio, putting together myself and the wonderful Rick Nichols. So I'm going to walk around the gallery here and give you a sneak peek, since we're not able, obviously, to have a true opening. You can pause and read that as you choose. And a wonderful statement by Rick about his work. And then I'm going to do a little sweep of the gallery, and then I'll walk around. Beautiful, beautiful space at Norfolk Academy, right outside the theater. And we're going to take ourselves on a 360. I'll move rather quickly so that you get the gist of what we're up to here. This is one of Rick's onions. I'm sorry, I just adore that is an onion sculpture. It's called bulbs, because there are two of them. And that sits beside my first painting here. This is bird watching. And it is a long canvas. I think it's like 115 inches. And it's about 4 feet high. I work on awning canvas. It's really a wonderful, heavy canvas. And I just turn back the edges to make it a little bit more stiff. And you can see the way that I work, a lot of layering, scratching, stenciling, drawing. I have had my work described as having so much going on in every square inch, and I think just with the layers of paint, it's always so much fun just to see what's going to show itself to me. I don't start with a preconceived idea. I start with a blank canvas, and then I just cover the canvas with geometric shapes. Those of you who are familiar with the way that I work know that I'm a big proponent of working with universal shapes and patterns, because they create a sense of structure and stability right out of the gate. And then from there, I begin to see what shows itself to me. So that's bird watching. It's the largest piece in the exhibit. And there's another onion bulb. This is Bee Goddess, and she is inspired by ancient art forms of the Bee Goddess. So you can actually look her up, though I cannot remember the Syrian. I think it's Assyrian. Yeah, I think it's Assyrian art history carries the image of the Bee Goddess. Maybe I'll put a link in the description here in the video so that you can actually see more about that, the cultural reference to the Bee Goddess. But again, see that there's a lot of layering. There's also some stencils. The bees in this piece were all hand-cut stamps that I created so that the bees would be replicated as a design form. And this piece also, you can maybe see a little bit of the glitter impact. I've been richly rewarded by working with children for over 20 years at the museum, and one of the rich rewards is not being afraid of glitter and glitter glue, even in the work that I do. So I'm kind of excited about glitter glue. This is a piece titled Blind, and it references that structure in the center. The rectangular, triangular structure in the center represents a place where we hide so that we can observe things without being seen. So that's called a blind in hunting and in nature observation. And in this case, it also references the idea that we may very well be blind to what we're doing in the world, in the natural world, and we may be creating impacts that we're just not willing to acknowledge. So in this painting, as in bird watching, there's the observant eye, the all-seeing eye, the caring eye. And an element of this nature, like the bird here, that is drawn with brush and ink on a separate sheet of paper, and then there's quite a bit of collaging going on here. But any elements that are collaged are elements that I created or manipulated so that they're completely my own elements. And we've got our little guy down here to remind us that life is short, but you can have a butterfly pelvis and you can constantly transform yourself. There's parts of the painting that are left undeveloped and other parts that are more fully developed, because that's how we are. We're not yet developed. And we've got another ancient art representative here, the Nile River goddess. And I'm not remembering what time in history she was, but the Wayback Machine. Also some references to the lotus flower recurs and the lemniscant underneath it, that we don't have to be concerned. There's a rhythm, a natural rhythm to life. I want to share with you Rick Nichols that's near these two pieces. And let's see what this piece is called. I'm not sure, but I'll get around to its title in a moment. It's pretty fun. His work is a riot. So I guess this is like a little plant stand kind of a thing. And it is Larry Norman Fan Club Snack Platter. I'll let you look up Larry Norman. But that's a snack platter. Isn't that great? And here's another piece that's close to these paintings. This one is titled Queen of the Vase. And isn't she, though? She's great. This piece of my work is titled Raucous, and it is a visual image. What do they call that when you have synesthesia, when you hear color and you taste sound, and different disciplines kind of bandy back and forth with one another. This is me visualizing sound, because each morning for just about a decade, the crows would wake up the household as the fox moved through the landscape in our yard. And so there's a silent fox and a very, very rowdy group of crows alerting the neighborhood that the fox is up, the fox is up. And some references to springtime, fern fronds. I love Charles Birchfield's work and Emily Carr, just moving out into nature and looking and listening and sensing into the environment. So again, nothing's drawn out in advance. Everything just comes up and appears as the work unfolds from some sort of an abstract design on the base of the canvas, and then working up to show me the actual imagery. Lots of repetition of patterns, and a pretty limited color palette, and yet a riot, a complete riot of color. These three little guys, let's see them backed up here on the wall. They're 16 by 20 inches, and they are each representative of my series on Virginia birds. So this is Strixivana, the barred owl. This is Otis asio, the screech owl. And this is the great horned owl. All birds that I would have heard and seen in my environment, at my studio and at my farm. Again, you know, the repetition of different elements, the leaves or the greenery that the bird spends time around, and also references to the environment through color. And we're going to come over here to the smallest piece in the exhibit is Miracle Grow. This is a little collaged piece. Again, this is based on the experience that I've had for the last 11 years on having purchased 50 acres of beautiful land. The bones of the land are gorgeous, but the timbering process took out 50 acres of hardwood and pine trees, leaving lots and lots of tree stumps everywhere, and then watching as things begin to reappear, regrow. So this is called Miracle Grow. And then we're going to come around to this last part of the exhibit, but I want to show you another Rick Nichols. Isn't he wonderful? What a great sense of humor and fabulous colorist. Sprout. That's the name of this one. And then over here we have Rick Nichols' Pea Pods. Isn't that great? And he did tell me that this entire piece is brushed with hot wax, like encaustic. And so it gives it a really, really beautiful sheen, as you can see under the lights, and a very different kind of finish. But isn't it great? Okay, let's come over here, and we're going to see these 6 pieces all directly reference my experience on the farm, living in, being in, observing, path making in a beautiful landscape that's been decimated by timbering, and yet everything grows back so fast. It's really, really exceptional to be able to witness what happens when this happens. And then slowly everyone starts realizing that it could be safe now. It could be safe to return to the land. So we've got 10 years in now, we've got everything from deer to fox to bear, bobcats, coyotes. These are all very regular visitors, as are still some wild dogs, some hunting dogs go through from time to time, but primarily it's the natural environment returning. And here too, I draw, as you can see, I draw onto brown parchment paper and then collage onto the surface of the panel. So both of these turtle skeletons, of which I found many after the timbering because of the compacting of the soil, found many, many shells, and just want to make a note that it is truly a global issue, that of deforestation. And it's probably not a bad idea for all of us to be as educated as possible around what it means to all of us to have our forests removed indiscriminately. And this is a piece called In My Yard, because it is very much about what my yard looked like. Let me see if I can get it without too much reflection. But this is another collaged piece. I think even the fox is even drawn onto brown paper and then collaged onto the canvas. I love doing that. It's just really playful and fun. Lots of stenciling here. lots of airbrushing, lots of building up with different kinds of paints, from glitter paint to spray paint. And this one has something that's quite unusual for me because it's got like a lacquer finish on it, lots of reflective quality. But don't you just get that feeling of being out in the woods and listening as the fox is moving through? Lastly is this wonderful piece by Rick Nichols on the vine. Have to ask him exactly what the meanings of his works are. I don't have him here, so he can't comment. But they certainly do make a beautiful connection to the work that I've got here too. And this last piece is called Fishin'. And Fishin', like all the other pieces, is an unstretched canvas. And here we've got the idea that we're all fishing for something. And in this piece, the egret is fishing the cove. And this guy spent his life fishing for whatever he was interested in obtaining, but it all ends the same for all of us. So that's just natural. Another reference to the moon. Flowers raining down are a very important part of my work for personal reasons, and just the idea of layering and playing and never really needing to have anything be perfect, but hopefully having enough structure that it all comes together to create an opportunity to tell a story. Fishing. And there we have it. I'm going to do a quick scan again. This is the Perrel Gallery at Norfolk Academy. Beautiful, beautiful space. And I am currently able to enjoy the experience of my work hanging in collaboration with Rick Nichols in this exhibit, Growing Together, curated by the amazingly talented Betsy DiJulio. Thanks for having a look. And thanks for sharing this video with others that you know that enjoy an opportunity to be uplifted these days by the beauty and the wonder of bringing color and form together to share our wonderful story of growing together. Catch you later.